Okay, it's recording. It is time for my top 10 games of this year, of 2022. I got them right here. Got them all recorded here. All played. I think almost all of them platinum, except the ones that I can platinum. Maybe not. So let's just get into it right away. So at number 10, I have, yes, Cult of the Lamb. Now, by the way, all of these games are just trailers, so I'm not gonna use any like real footage of spoilers or anything, right? Just trailers. But Cult of the Lamb, it was one of those games where I wanted to play it because people recommended it. So when it was on sale during the summer, or in September, I think, September, October, I can't remember exactly when, I got it, right? I got it. And it was just so fun. Like like the gameplay was good, the level design was good. I usually don't like world building, like how you just build worlds, but they actually made it fun in this game. It's one of those games where I really enjoyed, and that's basically it. There's not much more to say. It's like one of those hit surprises. It just hits me randomly. So that's number 10. Number 9 is Dying Light 2. Play this on PC because the PS5 version was not the best at launch. Maybe, I don't know, some issues, stuff like that. But I feel like this game did what it needs to do for a sequel, but I still feel like it didn't have the same impact as number 1. I like the characters, the gameplay. That's the one thing that actually nailed this game. It was the gameplay outside of maybe parkour. Maybe parkour was a little bit better in the first game. Maybe not. I'm not completely like blown away by the parkour in this game compared to the first game. But the gameplay, like the core gameplay, the melee, the weapons you have and stuff like that, that was good. And the story was, I mean, does anyone actually play this game for the story? It was decent. It was decent. But yeah, Dying Light 2 at number 9. Now we go to number 8. Now, this is a game that I feel should have been way higher. If you asked me 1 year ago, easily top 3 if I have to guess. However, Bayonetta 3 disappointed me in its direction of the series, without spoiling too much. I didn't like the ending. I actually hated it. It's probably the worst ending. No. It's the ending that I dislike the most. It's not the worst, like factually or whatever, but it's one of those endings where I hate the game. Like, it didn't make me hate the game. It just made me like you go to a restaurant, right? You eat the food, everything's good, and then dessert is horrible, and that's how you remember the restaurant. That's basically this game. Great gameplay. I mean, still in my top 10. However, I do think like a year ago, even 6 months ago, this would have been easily top 3 games this year, but unfortunately not. Still a great game though. I recommend it if you play 1 and 2, just to see what happens basically. Yeah, that's number 8. Number 7, A Plague Tale Requiem. So this game, also a sequel obviously to the first game, but I feel like this game literally improves in every way from the first game. From its characters, from its story, obviously gameplay. The biggest gripe I have with this game, it was not 60 on the PS5. And like, if you take that out, great game. Obviously performance issues and stuff like that there, but outside of like the performance issues, no glitches like that. Story was great. I can't wait for the next game. Hopefully they make an next game. They should make a next game. Great story game. If you like story games, like, I highly recommend the first one, especially this. Like, if the first one felt like a double A, this feel like, maybe this is not triple A in a technical way. However, it does feel more triple A than the first game. You can definitely see it, like, well, there's a lot more money involved in this game. A great story game. Great narrative story game. Highly recommend it. And the first game too. Recommend the first game too. And now we are at number 6, which is Stray. Yes, Stray, the cat game. Now, sometimes you need a break from big games, right? Open world games, long games, shooters, whatever it is. You just need a break. This is the perfect game. It's like 4 or 5 hours long. I got the platinum in PS5 version first and then PS4 version, so that's good. However, like, what makes this game special is just so simple. It's so simple, and you play as a cat. And it's like, if you need to de-stress or just a game in between bigger games, like, I feel like this is like literally the perfect game for that. Like, look, you just press X, like the dialogue is there, easy puzzles, the story is touching, and you play as a cat. I mean, what else? That's literally it. Like a cute, short game that I think majority of people will enjoy if you play it, basically. Now, number 5, a game I actually waited a long time for. Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga. Okay, first of all, this game is huge. Let me just explain why. I usually platinum games, right? Now, Lego games, I have a few Lego game platinums, 100%. About 20 to 30 hours. This game took me about 30 hours to beat. Now, I did do a lot of side stuff. But if you want to 100% this game, you're looking at like between 80 and 100 hours, I think. Like, I did not expect, like, I got a review code for this game, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna beat it like in a few days. It took me a whole week, because it was, I didn't expect it was so long, but it has like all the episodes. I feel like this is the ultimate Christmas gift for someone who is a Star Wars fan, if they, for whatever reason, don't have the game. Highly recommend if you're a Lego fan or a Star Wars fan. But just, you know, it's very long, it has all 9 episodes, it's very fun, it has like a lot of Easter eggs, and what surprised me the most, episode 1, 2, 3 was actually, especially 1 and 2, were way better than I thought they would be. The worst episode in the game was 8. Even not just because of I don't like the movie, but just in gameplay in general, it was not that good. But surprisingly, episode 1 and 2, very good gameplay wise. So that's number 5. Now number 4, another Nintendo game, but the best Nintendo game this year, Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Now you want to talk about a consistent series? I played 2 first. Then I played 1 Definitive Edition. Now I played 3. I had not played X. Oh, and I played Tourna, the Xenoblade 2 DLC. So it was Xenoblade 2, Xenoblade 2's expansion, 1 Definitive Edition, 3. I have not played X. So that's like my history. Again, this game, I feel like it has these moments from the previous games, and I do think you can technically play. It's one of those games where you can start playing if you haven't played the other games, but it's gonna be way better if you have played the other games, if that makes sense. Especially 2, I feel like. Especially 2. So yeah, great JRPG, great story. Obviously, the classic Switch problems, like, you know, resolution and FPS issues and stuff. But outside of those things, great, like incredible characters, great story, like a classic JRPG. And I like the gameplay. It's not, you know, the turn-based gameplay. It's actually very fun. Do I recommend starting with this? I mean, you have 1 and 2 on Switch, so why not start with 1? So like, I feel like, even though this game is way better than 1 in the first Definitive Edition, I still feel like if you kind of like that game, you're gonna like 2, and you're gonna really like 3 in gameplay wise. Story wise, it all depends. But yeah, Xenoblade 3, actually one of the best Switch games, honestly. Top 5 Switch game. Highly recommend if you have a Switch. And if you like, you know, JRPGs. It's very long. It's very long. Now, number 3, this is gonna be tough, right? So number 2 and 3, I was debating. Because I was like, how should I put this? Now, at number 3 is Horizon Forbidden West. Originally, when I first played this, I was gonna have this at number 2 of my year a few months ago. However, I replayed New Game Plus, and I still love the game. But there's just one small gripe that I have compared to when I played the launch, is that when I replay the game, I don't like the story as much as the first game, and there's so much weird dialogue, like emotionless dialogue, if that makes sense. Like, they just talk, but whatever, when they don't talk, when you give it the open world part, oh my god, like, the game is this or Ratchet is the 2 most beautiful games I've ever seen. The gameplay and the world is phenomenal. When they don't talk and actually you know, to the gameplay part, that's when it really shines to me. Obviously I did a full review. If you want my full thoughts, I did actually my top 3 games this year have a full review on my channel. So if you want all the opinions, you can just check that out. But yeah, improves from the first game in every way, I would say, except the story and maybe the OCT. But even the original soundtrack I feel like it's better in this game. This is like how we do a sequel, in my opinion, from a like open world standpoint. So that's number 3. And number 2, I mean, it's pretty obvious at this point what the top 3 is, right? The second game this year is Elden Ring. Now, Elden Ring and Horizon came out very short, close to each other. I'm one of those people who are like, I just finished Horizon. I'm not gonna jump into another game just because it came out. Like, I don't have that type of FOMO like other people do, maybe. I finished Horizon, got the Platinum, played Elden Ring, the PS5 version, and I was just back to back. I feel like this was like the longest period I loved games this year, because I have this game. Obviously, I have Dying Light. I got some other ports like Monster Hunter Rise DLC, God of War on PC. Elden Ring came out. That first period of this year was incredible from video games, Elden Ring, I feel like it's also an evolution of the series. It is by far the biggest game of the From Software games, at least like in the modern era, right? Longest game. It is huge. I mean, it's also compared to Horizon. Horizon is more like how Ubisoft wishes they do the games, where like Elden Ring is more like the next Breath of the Wild in terms of open world games, like the next evolution of open world games, right? So yeah. However, it is not my favorite Souls games. That's actually my number 3. I have Dark Souls 3 and Bloodborne over it. When I had to think about it for a long time, right? I think at least I do that. I'm not completely sure. But yeah, incredible game. Incredible game. I mean, most people have played the top 2. Now, I think at this point, it's pretty clear what's going to appear on the screen, right? It's like, it is pretty clear what's going to appear on the screen. Those were number 10 to number 2. But there's only one. There's only one GOAT. There's only one greatest of all time. Okay? Not game of the year, not game of the generation, not game of the 10 years. Greatest game of all time. Of all time! It is this game. If I could pick one game in my history of playing over 1,200 games in my life, if I had to perfect one game that does everything, story, characters, gameplay, just world, graphics, performance, no glitches, no lag, just pure amazingness, it is God of War Ragnarok. Bruh, look, sometimes you do lose a little bit of motivation to game, right? There were some disappointing games before this that came out, like Gotham Knights. It was disappointing. I'm not gonna name all my disappointing games, but there were a few disappointing games this year that came out. And then, because that period between like April until like October, a huge down period for games, right? But it ended strong. And after God of War Ragnarok came out, oh my god! Like, it reminded me exactly why I love games. It reminded me, like, it brought something out of me that like I just can't explain. But it is undoubtedly, unquestionably gonna be my game of the year generation and game of the year, unless something insane happens, okay? So yeah, God of War and number 1. There's like, I think anyone that watches this video is not surprised by this, right? Under the league for me. I love this game. Just love it. Yeah. So, man, I got a little intense there, right? God of War. Yeah, that's my top 10. Thank you. Please share yours if you want to, or just top 3, whatever. Or just game of the year. Enough for me. Long video. I'll see you guys, and goodbye.